With the promise of one of the rainiest summers that we've ever had in the UK, I thought, why not escape to Portugal? Okay, I am actually here for a car launch, and it's one of the UK's most popular family SUVs. This is the new Nissan Qashqai. It's had a few exterior and interior changes, as well as some changes to the specifications. So in today's video, I'll tell you everything you need to know about the new generation of Nissan Qashqai, including pricing, and find out whether it's as good as it's ever been. So if that sounds good, then please keep watching. And if you like new car reviews and car content like this, then you know what to do. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button. So when I first saw the changes to the new Nissan Qashqai online, I wasn't too sure what I thought about it. I thought it was not really the best looking, but actually, now seeing it in person, I quite like these new changes. So what are they specifically? Well, let me tell you.
The Qashqai's front grille has been updated to make a stronger impression. It now has glossy black comma-shaped elements that appear to float between the bonnet and the number plate. Apparently, according to Nissan, the inspiration for this design was the Japanese samurai armour. On certain models, the elements have a satin chrome finish. The headlights have also been redesigned to look sharper and more purposeful. The daytime running lights mimic the grille and melt into the design, my favourite new feature being the illuminated Nissan name on the side of the lights. Some models also feature sequential turning signals. At the rear, the red lighting elements mirror the shape of the front grille once again and have clear lenses for better visibility. They're now a distinctive shade of red, called Super Red, brighter than any other model on the road apparently. A new addition to the Qashqai lineup is the N design grade. On the exterior, the lower body portion below the doors and wheel arches are body coloured. There's also some unique all-new 20-inch alloy wheels, which bring an added on-road presence. Inside the new N-Design model, you'll find lashings of sporty Alcantara, covering the dashboard, doors and armrest. There are some plasticky elements, but they've been tastefully wrapped to give the effect of carbon fibre.
This new colour is absolutely beautiful. So this is deep ocean, and it's one of my favourite types of colour because it changes depending on what light it's in. So get it in a dark light and it looks very almost black, but then get it in the sunshine and it sparkles and you can see all those hues of green and blue. I also really like that on this top spec Techna Plus model, we get these contrasting gloss black wheel arches and front bumper. Now, if you go for the design trim, which just sits below this, those are then fully body coloured. That's a new trim level. And you also get some slightly larger wheels. So you get larger wheels on the slightly lower spec. But personally, I think these 19 inches are perfect for the Qashqai. They give it a much smoother ride. When you go up to the 20s on the design, everything becomes just a little bit too harsh.
The Qashqai will continue to be built in the UK Sunderland factory, which has built 4.4 million cars, with nearly 750,000 sold here and the rest finding homes in more than 100 countries. The updated Nissan Qashqai range consists of 5 trim levels: a Centre Premium, N Connector, Techna, N Design and Techna Plus. Prices start from £30,135. That entry point is exactly £3,000 more expensive than before because the cheaper Visia trim has been axed from the lineup. However, even the top specification car tucks nicely under the 40k mark at £38,875, as long as you're happy with the less powerful engine.
One of my favourite things with Qashqais is they always came with so much kit. They were one of the first cars to come with a 360-degree camera as standard on a non-premium vehicle, but what I didn't like about them is they felt so cheap and plasticky. But I'm really pleased that this generation has kept all of that tech. It's still packed full of all this technology, which I'll talk about in a moment, but also the just feel of the materials have been heightened. Everything feels very high quality. There's actually hardly any plastic to be found in this cabin anymore, which I'm really happy about. Now, this is the highest spec model, and I'd call this the granddad spec because we've got some kind of brown leather going on, we've got some contrast stitching, quilted seats, and you've also got this kind of wood effect in the centre console. Now it's not actually wood, but it's slightly styled to look that way. And I know calling it Grandad spec might offend a few people, but brown leather is not for everyone. But if you don't like brown leather, then you have lots of other options to go for when you go for a Nissan Qashqai. But one of my favourite things about this car is I just think they've got the buttons spot on. We all love buttons, and there isn't a single haptic button to be found. We've got buttons down the centre console which include your drive modes and also your EV mode and E-pedal. And then you've got some lovely climate control dials, physical dials for both you and your passenger, physical heated seat buttons, and all of the controls right there, including a heated windscreen and heated steering wheel, all with a physical button. And you've even got buttons underneath this touchscreen as well. Now let's talk about this touchscreen.
The new 12.3-inch screen is extremely crisp and responsive. It's also the first Nissan vehicle in Europe to have Google integrated into its infotainment system. With Google Maps and a personal Google account, drivers can access their favourite locations and points of interest without relying on their mobile phone or network. As I mentioned, the Qashqai was one of the first cars to feature a surround view camera, but this generation is light years ahead with quality and functionality. There's 8 different cameras around the car, and this means you can see it from pretty much every angle and even underneath. The colour coordinated digital image is also a nice touch. The dimensions of the Qashqai haven't changed a great deal over the older model, at just under 4.4 metres long and a touch over 1.8 metres wide. There's 504 litres of boot space, which, while it's not class leading, is a fair sized boot for family needs. There's a false boot floor which splits in two, allowing you to customise the space. The e-Power hybrid model also doesn't lose any boot space, which is a bonus considering the battery is larger.
A really good feature of the Qashqai has always been that the doors open at pretty much a 90-degree angle. This makes it so good for putting child seats and loading items into the back of the car. So the dimensions have remained the same, so that means that space in the rear is also the same as it was in the outgoing model, and that's no bad thing because there's plenty of room here for most of the family. There's tons of headroom. However, legroom can be just a tiny bit tight, but if you're carrying children in the back, then it's going to be no problem at all. You have got a pull-out armrest with a couple of cup holders, but no through loading, which would have been nice. You've got 2 ISO fixed fitments, and you've also got 2 USB-C chargers, as well as pockets on the rears of the seats and some storage inside the doors. It doesn't really feel like it's gone above and beyond in the department of carrying passengers in the rear, but I think it would be more than acceptable for most small families. So no fully electric Qashqais just yet. It's all about hybrid power, whether that's mild hybrid or strong hybrid. So the entry-level cars are 1.3 litre petrol mild hybrids, and these come in either an around or just under 140 brake horsepower or just under 160 brake horsepower. Now the car that I'm driving today is the e-Power, so this is a strong hybrid, and it's actually quite a clever setup.
The e-Power's engine is unique because the wheels are driven directly by the electric motor, unlike traditional hybrids. This means there's no gearbox, resulting in instant, high torque and smooth driving experience. The advanced turbocharged 3-cylinder engine's main role is to generate electricity, which is sent to the electric motor and battery. It's a great option for people who want the electric driving experience without worrying about charging.
You can't really expect any Qashqai to be particularly sporty in its drive. When you're in normal mode, the steering is very light. It's almost like a city car. Now, if you do pop it into sport, this does stiffen things up slightly, and in my personal opinion, it's a nicer drive in sport. But for everyday driving, it's just really easy to drive when you have it in normal. Of course, you also have the EV mode as well, if you want to use the most of your EV power. It handles pretty well. Now there is quite a lot of body roll in the corners because it is quite a tall car. You might get the headroom, but you get quite a lot of body lean as well. But once again, you only get that when you push this car really hard, which Qashqai owners probably aren't doing.
Now, we all know that safety features are becoming more and more intrusive, but this isn't always the manufacturer's faults. To comply with EU regulations, the Qashqai now automatically reactivates safety assist features like speed limit and lane departure warnings each time it's started. However, Nissan has found a way around this. They've introduced the driver assist custom mode, which allows drivers to personalise their preferred settings for each of these aids. With a simple touch of a button on the steering wheel, drivers can easily activate their chosen settings. And one of my favourite features is the fact that you can have your traffic sign recognition without the speed warnings.
For a while, if you was choosing a family car, there was pretty much just one option, and that was the Nissan Qashqai. But nowadays there's a lot more options in the range for going for a car like that. There's tons more competition. But I really think that some of these face changes, some interior changes, and most importantly, that new Google system make it a very impressive car and still extremely competitive. And I really love that they've managed to keep every version of this car under £40,000. But don't take my word for it. Let me know, what do you think of the Nissan Qashqai? Pop it in the comments down below. Let me know, have you had a previous generation car? Do you agree with my comments? And what do you think of the new one? I really hope you have enjoyed the video. If you have, go ahead and give it a big thumbs up. And if you want to see more, then make sure you hit the subscribe button. Until next time, guys, see you later.